I call to order the 1,605th meeting of the General Student Senate and the 5th meeting of the 47th session. Notice that this meeting is being broadcast via Zoom and the recording will be publicly available on YouTube. I will now read the land acknowledgement. The University of Maine recognizes that it is located on a marsh island in the homeland of the Penobscot Nation, where issues of water and territorial rights and encroachment upon sacred sites are ongoing. Penobscot homeland is connected to the other Wabanaki tribal nations, Passamaquoddy, Maliseet, and Mi'kmaq, kinship, alliances, and diplomacy. The university also recognizes that the Penobscot Nation and other Wabanaki tribal nations are distinct, sovereign, legal, and political entities with their own powers of self-governance and self-determination. Will the clerk please call the roll?
President Tripp.
Here.
VP Shelmerdine.
Here.
VP Bone.
Here.
VP Lehman. VP Thompson.
Here.
VP Fang.
Excused.
Director Leclerc.
Excused.
Director Arafat. Yes. Commissioner Stankiewicz.
Here.
Representative Britton.
Here.
Advisor Zadelko.
Here.
Senator Vanderwood.
Here.
Senator Schultz. Senator St. Pierre.
Excused.
Senator DeLorme.
Here.
Senator St. Lawrence. Senator Cowan.
Here.
Senator Chapin.
Here.
Senator Santaniello.
Here.
Senator Inman.
Excused.
Senator Dana.
Here.
Senator Ricker. Senator Goodspeed. Senator Zura.
Here.
Senator Balat.
Here.
Senator Van Beek.
Excused.
Senator Madrid.
Yes.
Senator Oldfield.
Here.
Senator Supker.
Excused.
Senator Rivera.
Here.
Senator Weber.
Here.
Senator Seward.
Here.
Senator Rideout.
Here.
Senator Soper.
Here.
Senator Zelaw.
Here.
Senator Collmore.
Here.
Senator Sparks.
Here.
Senator Crowdy.
Here.
Senator Whitehead.
Here.
Senator Levesque.
Here.
Senator Donovan.
Here.
Representative Pellet. Representative Brunner.
Here.
Representative Knapp.
Here.
Representative Karpinski.
Here.
Representative Fanco.
Here.
Representative Emery. Here. Representative Gamble.
Here.
Representative Abed.
Here.
Representative Tremblay.
Here.
Representative Farrago.
Sarah's proxy.
Thank you. Is there anybody I missed?
I'm now looking for approval of the 2/10/26 minutes in this agenda. Senator Oldfield, should we do approve the 2/10/26?
Okay.
Hearing a second, it's the pleasure of the Senate that is adopted. Now moving into general good welfare, where any non-member may address the GSS for no more than 5 minutes. Do we have any speakers? Seeing none, we'll see nothing else under new senators' office appointments, club maintenance, club presentations. We'll now move into the PPFA traditional report.
Hello, everyone. Today for my traditional report, I have 111,932.44. We have no returns been allocated, no transfers, no budget lines added, no office budgets for EVTA allocation. Mushroom Club, which I encourage everybody to read or I'll just bring to attention, the stipulation under this one is different than our normal ending of just regular consent agenda forms. We need them to provide us a confirmation that would include university space, like a lab or greenhouse, as well as a terms of use for whatever space they choose to grow their mushrooms in, with access and scheduling and mushroom monitoring, that kind of stuff, which is more than we normally require. Just before funds can be dispersed to them. Then we have the esports arena for $849.10, the Youth Student Association for $600. Then for coming Senate tonight, we have open frisbee, men's open frisbee, we have figure skating crew, we have whitewater rafting, and we have Pan Planning Council for a litany of things that you'll hear about soon. That's the end of my traditional report.
I'm now looking for approval of the consent agenda. Senator Weber,
I move to approve the consent agenda. Second.
hearing a second, if it's the pleasure of the Senate, as adopted. Moving into funding requests, we'll start with 47S EBC Men's Ultimate Frisbee Club. Do we have a speaker?
I'm Ryan Sullivan, president, and we're requesting $2,330.09 for lodging for our sectional and regional tournament.
Do you want to elaborate a little bit more on the event itself?
Oh, yeah, it's our sectional and regional tournaments too. It's like the competition to make nationals. Right, yeah, they can be in sectional and then you like going up from that, you'll get regionals. And so,
Do we have any questions for the speaker? Senator Weber?
Where are these games or like events being held at?
sectionals is usually at Brown and then regionals is usually at UMass.
Do we have any more questions? Senator Sparks? How many people are going?
Usually around 25.
Any more questions? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
Committee's recommendation is 700 ought to pass.
I'm now looking for approval of the committee's recommendation. Senator Longwood.
Second.
Hearing a second, we'll now enter discussion. Seeing none, debate. Senator Oldfield.
This is a question for EPFA funds. Is it $2,313.09 keep them under their like
Put some right in there.
right up? Okay, thank you.
Any more points for debate? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? All abstaining? Seeing a clear majority in the affirmative, that passes. We'll now move on to 47S EDC Figure Skating Club.
Hi, I'm the president of the Figure Skating Club, represent the remainder of our tier one. We have 3 competitions this year and we are going into our last one, and we need the extra money for that competition.
Do you have any questions for our speaker? Senator Oldfield.
How long are like the figure skating competitions? I don't really know anything about.
So we drive up Friday afternoon and then leave Sunday night. And usually the hotels are about $900, I believe, and the registration is about 1,000. And then you can wrap up.
Are there any more questions for the speaker? Seeing none, goes to the committee's recommendation.
700 ought to pass.
I'm now looking for approval of the committee's recommendation. Senator Sparks.
I move to approve the committee's recommendations. Second.
Hearing a second, we'll now enter discussion. Seeing none, debate. Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? All abstaining? Seeing clear majority in the affirmative, that passes. Now moving on to 47S EDC Group Club.
Hi, my name is Ava. I'm the president of the crew team here at UMaine. We compete in regattas throughout the Northeast. This past weekend, we took home 12 medals at the World Indoor Rowing Championships, and we're seeking our remaining tier one funding to continue to support our rowers and purchase better equipment and fix our boats that are currently in need of some patching.
Are there any questions for the speaker? President Tripp.
Would a storage unit at all help you guys, or are you content with you have like kind of a trailer near the same thing, right?
We store our boats on a trailer during the year and they come up to the wreck during the year. A storage unit would be hugely beneficial, but we're kind of struggling to get by with the money we have. But if that was ever a possibility, we would love that.
I would have you reach out to Vice President Thompson. Great.
Do you have any more questions for the speaker? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
700 ought to pass.
I'm now looking for approval of the committee's recommendation. Senator Weber.
I move to approve the committee's recommendation.
Second.
Hearing a second, we'll now enter discussion. Debate. Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing clear majority in the affirmative, that passes. Move on to 47S EDC 20 Whitewater Rafting Club.
Hey, you guys, my name is Will, I'm treasurer of the Whitewater Club. We are requesting our purchase funding request, $1,300 upon collaborative pool sessions with Maine Bound up here at the Wallace Pool, and then a swiftwater rescue program for our emerging leaders in the spring.
Great. Are there any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
601 on the pass.
I'm now looking for approval of the committee's recommendations. Senator Weber,
To, briefly, committee recommendation.
hearing a second, we'll now enter discussion. Senator Weber,
The abstain was, me, because I showed up a little bit late, so I missed the portion of what they were explaining, why they were requesting funding.
thank you for the clarification. Are there any other points for discussion? Senator Oldfield?
As this is also a question directed to either the. Or VPFA phone. What does the insurance for this sort of activity look like?
Yeah, totally. So right now we're under you guys. I think under the university insurance. Do you wanna?
Yeah, so right now they fall under the university insurance. Make sure to reach out to Sean about this beforehand. Because many of the members are trained guides and they're either gonna be in the pool or they're gonna be using swiftwater rescue sessions with another trained professional. Focus on, and the whole training is focused on safety and what to do in situations where it might go wrong. And so there's layers of precautions on top of this, but there is also in the works plans to get them under some type of department, like what we did with Wisdom Team last week.
Any other points for debate? Yvonne?
It's just a clerical error on my part. I encourage the senator to make an amendment and to stipulate after the and for Swiftwater rescue session with Packraft, Maine, parentheses stating $700. I just forgot to list that amount.
I'm now looking to entertain a motion for what we did.
I would like a motion for the BPFA from the suggestion.
Second.
Hearing a second, we'll now enter discussion on the amendment. Seeing none, debate. Seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment? All opposed, all abstaining, seeing clear majority, the amendment passes. We're now back onto debate as for the resolution, no. As amended, yeah, resolution as amended, sorry. Any other points for debate? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed, all abstaining, seeing clear majority in the affirmative, that passes as amended. Last for funding request, we have 47S EDC 21 for paneling council.
Hi, everyone. So requesting funding on behalf of for AOPI for Miss Fraternity. Miss Fraternity is basically like a talent show for the fraternities, and it basically brings all of Greek life to come, and it's gonna be held during Greek Week, and then all of the money they get in donations will go straight to the philanthropy for their arthritis foundation.
Yep, it's also split with the winning fraternity. It's a really great event for everybody in Greek life and out of Greek life to get together and have a good time.
And we're requesting $4,000 for the CCA.
Are there any questions for the speakers? President Tripp?
Are you connected with our director of communications to help advertise the event?
Not yet, but we'd love to.
Will you send me an email? Perfect.
Any other questions? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
700 on the pass.
I'm now looking for approval, Senator Lambert.
Second.
Hearing a second, we'll now enter discussion. Seeing none, debate. President Tripp?
So I think that the price of the CCA is outrageous. I would like to ask a question of a few questions of our advisor, if that's okay. How is the CCA set up when it comes to the relationship between like E&G funds, if you could explain that, and like the university generally?
Sure, so the CCA is one of those buildings on campus that has to generate its own income. So there are staff, there's a house manager, there's also staff that have to run it, there's ticketing, things like that. So because they have to generate their own income, they use when they rent it to people, they rent it for a cost. That cost does include the people that are behind the scenes, the technical crew, the cleanup, all that kind of stuff. And believe it or not, $4,000 is a discount. I agree with you that it's very expensive for a building that we have on campus, but you're also paying for the people in the playing. And this event in particular is usually, what, like 1,500 people? Something like that, I mean,
Not questioning paying for it, I think we can pay for it.
no, I'm just saying, but for 1,500 people, that's a part of why they justify the price of it.
Can I ask a second question?
You also have to pay for fire folks too, people to make sure that if something happens and you have to get out safely, you have to have fire patrol.
Second question. What has any conversation been about, like increasing a discount for students?
There's been lots of conversations about decreasing for students. This is where it has landed right now. But that doesn't mean that the discussion doesn't continue to be on the table for all of the things that we cross-charge each other for on this campus. Because as you know, there is cross-charging for way too many things. We're just moving money around.
Okay, so it's not this conversation to put it on the psyche of the Senate. This has been something that we've been fighting for now a long time. And I'm personally at capacity in terms of my projects, but if the Senate wanted to look into what they would look like to address that issue for groups like this moving forward, I think that would be a good idea. That's it.
Other points for discussion?
I know this is a recurring event. Is there a reason it's not included on the handheld like annual budget?
We are gonna start doing that, this year. We're currently working on the budget. We think that should be included because unfortunately with our own panel funds, we have to like set aside a lot of money for recruitment. So we unfortunately can't like give, $4,000 for a CCA, but we're definitely gonna include that for next year's budget.
Any other points for discussion? Seeing none, debate? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? So you declare majority in the affirmative, that passes. I'd now like to invite up our guest speaker, Sergeant Baby Dover.
Good evening. Those of you who know me know that I'm not much of a podium speaker, so forgive me if I wander. I'm not much of one for formality. Are we able to turn on the projector? Oh, basically, that's just a little bit of visual effect for you. Just wanted you guys to know, I'm here to talk about a little bit of the initiatives going on right now. Main one I want to talk about right now is safety. Sorry for my ear. So I don't know how many people have been onto the website lately for UMaine, but there's been a lot of updates. This is our new update for our page. At the top, those buttons go to different things. You can even look at the officers, get a little bit of a picture of us and get to know us a little bit more so you can recognize us and say hey or whatever, a little bit of personal touch to that. You can make reports anonymously or not. There's a lot of resources in here. So I encourage people to peruse. If you scroll down, there should be a link at some point for Black Bear Safe right there. Yeah. How many people here have Black Bear Safe on their phones? Ooh, only about a third. Okay. So if you guys don't know what that is, go ahead and click on the link, not the app. Nope. Just click on what is Black Bear Safe. Okay, let's stop right there. So that's what it looks like now. There's been a few changes over the last year. The main one being the panic button in the middle that used to be called blue light. Nobody knew what mobile blue light meant. And I was speaking with some professors and they asked about panic buttons. And I said, well, you have one right on your phone. And they were like, so we made that look like a panic button. What that'll do is that will give us your GPS location. You'll talk directly with our dispatchers on campus and we can see you. If you're on the bike trail, we can send you back out to your bureau rank or whatever. Once you disconnect, it disconnects your GPS location, so of course there's no continued tracking. There are other resources on here. The top right, a little triangle looking thing, that's called a virtual walk. If you click in there, you have two options. The first one being a friend walk. The friend walk is, it will call a friend of your choice. They will watch you walk on a map and talk to you while you're walking alone. If it's, 3 o'clock in the morning and you're leaving the library and not a party, and you don't want to wake up your friend, you can do what's called a virtual walk, which is exactly the same thing, but it's with our dispatcher. So you put a destination down, they can watch you walk on the map and talk to you. When you get there, you can say, I'm safe, and it disconnects. It can give us the history of where you were, but not your current location at that point. The one in the middle that looks like a little cell phone is really fun. Thank you, Res Life. We learned about this one. It's called Social Escape. You're on that meeting, that first date, and it's super awkward. You click in there, there's a phone number that you can save in your phone. You can call it, Phil. You can set it for a 30-second to 30-minute delay. You get a phone call saying, hey, we're helping you get out of this situation. You say, hey, we just wait and take this phone call. Oh, I gotta leave. Mark was in the hospital and out you go.
I even went and Keegan's in my office.
When I saw that, they loved it. They paid for it. We appreciate that. There's maps in there. There are resources to Res Life, to Cutler Health, mental health, food services. Of course, you can click and just call 911, which is the one you'd want for any emergency. Live chat is another nice one. You can literally text our dispatcher and not have to put the phone to your ear. So say you're at Fogler and someone's losing their crap and you don't want to bring attention to yourself, you can just text, hey, we need you at the library, and we'll be right there. So I highly recommend that you can actually deal with Parkland Services on here and appeal your ticket. That's not us, that's them. So go to them. So this is really handy. We're pushing this really hard because there's been a lot more updates to it. It is statewide, so all of our campuses can use it. You can use it. We helped somebody who was outside of Machias dealing with flooding. They didn't know where they were, and we were able to get them some help. So it's one of those things that if any student or anybody's talking to you about safety, this is a huge tool to have in your tool belt. It's costly, but it's very effective, and we would love all of you to have that on your phones and utilize it. Another safety initiative that we are pushing right now, that we're starting to work on, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do reach out to you guys for some press and some assistance on helping, is pedestrian safety. As you know, we've had some issues over the last couple of years with some pedestrians who have gotten hurt. So while we are addressing the vehicle traffic, we will be reaching out to student interaction on how to assist with students walking and safety and how you guys traverse the campus, whether it be an information campaign on, put your phone down, at least at the crosswalks, using crosswalks, things like that. So we'll reach out to you guys in assistance on how best to address the student body and maybe get that information out to where we're talking about having it, student orientation, things like that already, but we're wanting to address the problem and get it to where you guys don't have to worry about just walking to class. Small touch up on, of course, the last time I spoke about Pembroke Canine. I'm still working on this, but it's not going to go away and I'm not stopping. So if you guys have any questions or concerns or comments about any of that, I will.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions for our speaker? Senator Collmore.
I do have one question. So I really like the design of the app, but I had a question if there was a protocol for if someone were to open the app on their phone and they were trying to press the social escape button and they accidentally pressed the panic button.
When you push it, it basically says, "Are you sure?"
Okay.
Before it goes any further.
Yeah, I was just curious about that because I know it can be.
No, there's no immediate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that panic button goes to our dispatch, so it's not like it's our 911 on campus. It's not going to the 911 center. 911, it also asks, "Are you sure?" And there's a little bit of pre-setup, like for social escape, you'd want to go save that number in your phone. And it is kind of a robotic sounding one, so you may not want it to have super high volume because it's not an AI voice, it's still the computer voice. So if they heard it, they'd be like, FFL sounds weird. But, yeah.
Senator Emery?
Yeah, like I think the progress that you guys have made with this, I think should really be applauded. I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that I think there's still trepidation that, we're getting rid of the blue lights. I think that was, like a real, strong suit for the campus and, quite frankly, I'm disappointed that's what it came to.
That's a misunderstanding. They're looking at options, they're not talking about getting rid of.
Was that one thing that was, brought up at like a previous meeting that was a misunderstanding?
Yeah.
President Tripp?
Okay, so I was gonna bring up the blue lights anyway, so because I
Perfect.
think it's perfect to kind of clear the air. So myself and Vice President oh my gosh, I had a long day. Myself and Vice President Shelmerdine toured the UMPD beginning of this semester, feels like forever ago. And part of the conversation that was had with us was about how unbelievably expensive the blue light system is to repair, how few people are actually equipped to repair it, how slow it has been at getting repairs in, quite like a long time that they've been down, and how unrealistic continuing the usage of the blue lights, and this was what we were told, would be. That being said, there was never, I think that we got that information a week later or so, the GSG got that information. The GSG, when they put out their survey, made it pretty much stated very clearly, I think it was a misunderstanding, that it was absolutely what was happening. When we sent ours out, it's very much specified considering. So I think that is where everything got wrapped up in things. From what I understand, and I guess my curiosity would be kind of question to you, is it's pretty unrealistic that the blue lights will continue as they are.
To fix those, I mean, we're talking tens of thousands. The main issue being wiring them. They're out in remote locations, you still have the remote power and data and everything to them, and they are extremely expensive to fix. So they are looking at options as to what might be better. Do we get rid of those? Do we fund the money to fix those? Do we look at attaching them to buildings where, like the outside of Boga, for instance, that would have power and everything to it? Do we add cameras to them? Because some of them don't even have cameras. So you're calling and it's, it's like having a home phone. How many of you guys have a home phone as opposed to a cell phone? That's the technology of these things. So they're very much so 1950s, 60s, 70s technology. So they're looking at all the options to what is the safest and what are we going to do? Are we going to continue with them? Are we going to replace them? Are we going to do something different? So all of those things are in play. Nobody's talking about, yeah, we're just tearing them out. That's what's happening. We're just trying to figure out what's the best scenario.
Thank you both for your clarification.
Yeah.
If like students that are living off campus, or like off or outside of like university property, will this still like work?
Statewide.
Okay, statewide.
We set up the geofence at the state level.
Okay.
We had to set up a geofence because we were getting calls from somewhere in Thailand. So we had to set up a geofence. So like if you went home to mass or something like that, it wouldn't work.
Okay.
But what it would do, if you're an emergency, 911 is always first.
Okay.
If you use this, we could reach out and get you assistance somewhere else. Much like the person that was in the floods outside of Machias, we were able to get them help there.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
Senator Sparks?
I know that on the blue lights, our security representative has mentioned them before, and she did explain how unclear it is. And she did clarify that they were not going away. Do you have a timeline on like when the repairs might start happening, if there are any?
I don't have that information. I know repairs are ongoing. But I don't, that would be MM that handles all that, so I don't have the timing.
Are there any more questions for our speaker?
About this or anything.
President Tripp?
I think that safety has been like at the top of mind for the student body currently in a way that it certainly hasn't been in the past, but at least in my last 4 years has taken kind of a front seat in most regards when it comes to the having all about, say, lighting and the accessibility of campus, it all kind of comes back to safety. And I think that the UMPD find yourself kind of the face of a lot of that, which maybe it doesn't directly oversee, but certainly you guys are kind of meant to make us feel safe. I think that there's been a lot of effort in kind of laying the groundwork. It's not as much as I wish we could have done. I think that the student body's been preoccupied, student government got preoccupied, but I would really like to see kind of a lot of this letter this semester invested in how we can increase the kind of community policing aspect and really build a relationship between the student body and UMPD. And I think that there's been a lot of maybe suggestions thrown your way, and we've heard them all. But I would be curious on what you would have for advice in ways that maybe student government or other entities can help kind of bridge that gap, and kind of maybe a sentiment about that from you before you go.
Well, that's a pretty big passion of mine. I know you and I have had several conversations. I am big in, if you get to know us and you at least, no matter what your feelings are on law enforcement, as long as you have a relationship with us and you feel like you can communicate with us, then it opens a lot more communication and doors to where we get more information to where we can help you. So I'm huge on that personal level between you guys and us. My last 7 years before here, I was a high school resource officer, okay? So easy part about that is you're all stuck in one building and you get to know each other very well. The challenge I see here is we're all in different buildings, we're all maybe on and off campus, and there is less opportunity for us to mingle. My goal at my chief and his vision and my vision and our vision as a whole is to build that more and more and more. Small things like coffee with the cops, where, you know, you might just see me in outside Starbucks one day with a sign saying, ask me a question, you know, or more formal events where, oh, sorry, they're about to be loud. I think they're just doing they're sending an ambulance somewhere, okay. Even something like getting with, say, the reserve or the Ave and trying to put on a barbecue to where some of our commuter students and stuff can get with us. Because a lot of times when we talk about, we're in committees for, you know, say mental health or things like that, we talk a lot about those living on campus, and there's so many more of you who aren't. So there are a lot of ideas coming at me. The challenge being finding the ability, the time, and so on and so forth to do that. Unfortunately, right now, as a department, we're short staffed. So plugging holes right now, but the plan is to, and before the season ends, the semester ends, I would expect to see at least coffee with the cops this year, if not something more.
Are there any more questions for our speaker?
Will you be asking res life to like put them in the halls so that students would know about, well, at least like students that live in the dorms would know about like that this thing is happening, like coffee with the cops?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We would put something out to where it would go out to all the RAs. They could put it up on the bulletin boards. It would go out to, I'd probably reach out to your media people, media on campus. Just walked through their office the other day just for fun. Great office. And so on and so forth to get that information out to where at least, you know, people could come by and chat, whatever. It might even be a little bit more or less formal, just as I have time to show up and just say, hey, what's going on? I like to try to just pop into places. The more you see the uniform, the less formal it appears, because it's just tools. And a lot of people, so a lot of times I change the temperature of a room just by walking in the room. So you have to overcome that. But the more you see it, the more comfortable you are with it, the more you feel like we're your cops and you want to reach out and talk to us.
Is it first? I think coffee with the cops is a fabulous idea. Our security rep, I know, has a drafted poster of coffee with the cops because it's something she's very interested in wanting to do. She's sick today, so she's not here. But if you do reach out to Haley, and then she would be so excited to set that up for you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Are there any more questions? All right, thank you so much for taking the time.
Right, we'll now be moving on to executive reports, starting with the president.
Yes, it's got a big update about something. Can you skip me?
All right, we'll start with mine. The clothing closet, as I said last week, this week, has put on hold. It's all materials on my car, and my car is currently at the mechanic because I'm gonna sit up really bad again. But all the materials. So all the materials have been bought, we still have a little bit left in our fund. And so this is the last week where if there's a specific item people are really looking for, you need to reach out to me before I can't fund it anymore. And all that shopping was done with President Tripp over the weekend, so thank you to him. As you'll notice, and what I sent out in the chat, today is a paper meeting and it's gonna be paper meeting going forward. If you're on your laptop, you shouldn't. They should be away unless you're giving a report. It was unfortunate last time when we asked people to get off their laptops and then you could hear the typing. That's really disrespectful when we have speakers come in, and I don't want to see that anymore. So we're sticking with paper. So thank you guys for passing everything around for today. The agenda should be separate from the packets that have all of the resolutions in it. The first bi-weekly with Dick Young is this Thursday, and I set that up with Senator St. Lawrence and Sutker. If you have any questions regarding parking or student services, please let me know ahead of time. Those questions answered in that meeting. The committee bi-weeklies are going well, and we're very on top of attendance. And attendance also counts for committee chairs. So even if you are fulfilling your 2 points, by being chair, you also need to be holding your committee for those 2 points to be filled. If you're part of a committee, you must communicate with the chair at a minimum of 24 hours in advance for absences unless it's like an onset illness. You should not be skipping committees you sign up for, even if you're fulfilling your Senate requirements with the other points, because that really sets off what committees can be doing. And if they have an expectation of, hey, we're gonna get this work done today, they need to be able to finish that work. I will be excusing people starting next week if you're not fulfilling your requirements, as we're 4 weeks into the semester, and these are the expectations we've had all year. I don't mean this to be punitive or to try to intimidate you guys into participation, but if you're not fulfilling your requirements, you aren't contributing to the student body, and the job as a senator and all the groundwork for UMSG is done in these committees, meaning your attendance solely at Senate doesn't mean that much. And a reminder to committee chairs that the Instagram post for your committee is due to the DOC at the 24th at the latest. End of report. President Tripp?
Yep. All right, hi guys. So housekeeping, first of all, we sent out the funding email. Thank you, BPFA Bohm, for drafting that. We got that out Friday. Upstairs. Friday. One of those days. And please keep pushing to your clubs and everybody you know that we have money. Also, sash reminder, please make sure that you reach out to VPSL Fang if you are graduating so we can get your sashes ordered. I know that BJ wants to get them as early as possible, so I'm just gonna keep pushing them until we have everybody. I don't think it will take too long, because everybody does it. So we're also working on getting those of us who have left Senate but are graduating their sashes too. So if you can think of anybody and know them, mention it to them. Moving into old business. So next Monday, I believe, myself and Deans Gifford and Sedelka will be working through the suggested changes from Sean to the amnesty program. And an update about that will come to Senate when the time comes. But I think that we've come to a conclusion on a lot of them. A few others we're going to talk over, and I think that we'll have some meaningful progress by the end of next week. Moving into student entertainment and the importance of influence is what I wrote that. I don't know, I wrote it on the way down this morning. I'm gonna be regularly reminding the Senate when I can about the importance of pushing this concert. I know I've already done this, so I'm gonna sound like a broken record, so good. Continue talking, sharing online on both personal and organizational accounts if you're a rep board. I think that's a good idea. And be ready to communicate updates to your respective groups or circles, etc. Moving into new business, I'll be attending the IFC executive meeting tomorrow night. We'll be talking about UMSG, expectations for the rest of the year, and a vision for what kind of the new Greek life leadership can be. I think that we have some really, really strong leaders who are ready to see something different from this group. And I'll be making the same stop handheld soon. So look up for that. As for rep boards, I'm gonna be honest, we're stalling on both fronts. For the sports club, we're seeing kind of a lack of engagement. So I'm gonna pitch kind of my personal pitch that I've been floating around now, so the Senate can start thinking about it. I would personally like to see tier funding require participation on the board. I think that we have a major fiscal and constituency prerogative here, and it shouldn't fall behind just because we have some executives who aren't pushing these things. Again, the ask would not be very much, it would be a rotating member, and we can kind of get to the details. But if we really want to make progress on both of our rep boards that we want to see together, we're going to have to take some decisive action. And I just want to make sure that we're prepping the Senate and these things don't just kind of come flying at you. On the lead RA or the RA rep board side of things, lead RAs will no longer exist, so we'll need a pivot, which I think stresses just that much more how important it would be to have that link of report from them to us. I received word that folks on the admin side had concerns about its structure. Myself and VPFA Bohm made it clear and will reiterate that its structure is more than malleable and we can make it work for whatever concerns there are. And while these concerns were not brought to me, I look forward to addressing them and seeing it through. I've talked to a lot of the RA leadership and they're more concerned about the kind of where they are with these things going away and how, you know, these jobs aren't going away, maybe the benefits are, and they're going to be kind of pushed somewhere else, and that's the concern. So I think that on top of what we've seen with RAs, and I think the RAs in the room can agree about kind of what we're feeling and hearing in the res halls is really important for Senate to have a closer ear on. So I look forward to seeing that through. And like I said, we may have to take decisive action. There's precedent in the past to set up an interim board in order to get something like this, especially when it's large constituency work going. And I think I'm going to pursue an approach more like that rather than the 7-week club update, but you guys will all be in the loop for that stuff. Moving into syllabus bank, I'm waiting on the provost office to get back to me about next steps. I think we have all the players that we need, and hopefully we can get a meeting with everybody to move that forward. Again, we're waiting on the fact that the Senate to pass an identical, or not identical, but a, I don't know, congruent resolution with the two that have been passed now by the undergraduate and graduate senates. Stalling there too, to be honest. I'm gonna push it forward as much as I can, and I'll come back with updates when I have them. And then finally, hiring updates. So this is going to be, unfortunately, because of where everything is stalling, also this is going to be my focus for the next few weeks. I have a lot of work ahead of me for hiring. Myself and BJ will be kind of tackling that together. But historically, the president has always been kind of the senior hiring officer. I've been working diligently to get all job descriptions updated. I'm going to have their execs review the hiring questions associated with their positions and get them back to me so we can have those solidified. I have a hiring timeline and a 10-minute discussion coming later, so we'll get to that a little bit more. But hiring is opening, I think, at the beginning of next week. So it's coming and it's coming quickly. So may I remind you, right now is the best time to start talking to your current student leaders in these positions that you may be interested in. They are fabulous. They are doing such a great job, and I think you could learn a lot if only you take advantage. So if you are interested in their positions, please make that known. Come speak to them. And that is the end of my report this week.
Vice President of Financial Affairs.
Hello, everyone. This week's been busy, mostly meeting with clubs, prepping for the annual budget. But I did attend the meeting with the chancellor this morning. The meeting was mostly filled with talks from graduate student government about relations to the union and graduate workers. But we did generally talk about student identity and belonging, and how likely you make changes as budget situation does. I sent out an email to the greater student body about funding, like President Tripp mentioned, and I've had a few meetings along that line scheduled already. Next Thursday is the deadline for all annual budget submissions, and I am completely booked this week. And so make sure that you don't miss out on a time that works for you next week. And I also apologize if I'm rather terse or short when I interact with you this week. It's because I'm booked right through and report.
Vice President of Student Organizations.
Hey guys, pretty brief report tonight because we didn't have SSU this week. That's why you saw nothing under club maintenance. I checked the sign up form for the sports club rep board, and now we have 3 signups. I echo President Tripp's sentiment that we need to seriously consider tying tier funding to participation, especially when sending a delegate has already been pitched as mandatory to these clubs. I have some club deactivations to report as a result of the update form. A reminder that this was already after extending the deadline for a week. The following clubs have become derecognized: Biology Club, Ski and Snowboard Club, Women in Economics, Argentine Tango, Commuter and Non-Traditional Students, the club, not the committee, Orno Contra Dance, Navigators, MBS Business Corps, Aquaculture Club. End of report.
Vice President of Student Entertainment.
Hey everyone, 163 tickets were used at Blackbird Cinemas last week. Like President Tripp said, SEC is important. So if you are interested in being involved in the concert, SEC meets 12 to 1 in my office, which is located in the back of the Wade Center. Not only is there concert stuff to do, but there's other events to help plan. And so if you are very interested in helping plan events or getting involved in potentially being interested in my job, come to SEC or come see me and learn how to plan an event. So that'd be very cool. For the concert, we made an announcement last week that another announcement will be coming, and it seemed to get a lot of engagement, which is very exciting. But again, stay tuned for further announcements about the artist, which will hopefully be coming soon, but can't say any more than that. Also, again, if you want to volunteer, you have to come to SEC February 27th. I know Lori was a lot more liberal than I was with this, but that is also the day that I will be collecting t-shirt sizes, and I don't want to put it in order later after that. So to me, that is the day that you have to be there, and so that way you get that done, and then I get your t-shirt sizes so I can get the volunteer t-shirts. I personally won't be taking anybody after that because I will not be ordering more t-shirts than that. So that's how I roll, I guess. This Friday is Winter Carnival, so please tell all your friends about this. It's going to be very exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun and cool things. I'll drop the flyer in the chat right after I finish my report. But again, just tell all your friends about it and go check it out. There's going to be like horse-drawn carriage. There's going to be ice skating. So many cool things. So check that out. The report.
Does anyone have a report for the Vice President of Student Leadership? This week, I onboarded 4 new senators as well as reached out to a few senators to assist them in fulfilling their senator requirements. I also adopted and sent out congratulation letters to all the scholarship winners. If all goes to plan, they will come to introduce themselves to you all next week. Senator Schultz and Inman designed new scholarship certificates, and SLC voted on them today. SLC has also designed a bunch of new merch ideas that I am especially excited about. I'm also working with DOT Arafat on an updated senator committee page to include committee chairs and times so that chairs can advertise their committee to non-UMSG members. If you were a chair and you need assistance contacting members of the administration or tabling in the union, please reach out to me or VP Shelmerdine, but I am much less busy than VP Shelmerdine and great at requesting tables. Seeing that the advisor of student government is in the hallway, whenever she comes back in, we can give her a report. Are there any questions with the executive reports? President Trey?
I forgot a big part of my report.
Okay.
Which is like the part. So I got a call on the way back from Augusta tonight. Or no, that's not even true. I got a text from GSG about where they are at with their student trustee selection process, which is essentially ready to send their primary candidate that has been selected across campuses to the governor. That is one major step ahead of the undergraduate. And I was under the impression that all of that would be done together. So it was done together in the past, and that's how it was framed to me. Then again, there's been a little bit of a kind of a lapse in communication there. But certainly what is true is that myself and Representative Britton have been waiting for a follow-up from other campuses and their nominees so that we can select our undergraduate nominee as a system, not just a campus. So Trustee Kemmler informed me tonight after I called him that no other campus produced an undergraduate trustee nominee, which essentially means on the undergraduate side, the search has failed. Okay, so that's not super exciting and it's a little bit frustrating because I do believe that myself and Representative Britton did all we could do to kind of pull the system together once again on this. And powers beyond our control. We simply work on this campus and not every other. Things fell through the cracks. So I'm working on kind of a follow-up right now with what that means. It sounds like in communications with GSG president, or the GSG president, that the move now is to move forward with the one nominee from Orono that we have, as well as the nominee and backup for the graduate students, and hope that pans out. So I'm gonna keep the Senate updated on where kind of that goes, and I just want everyone to be totally in the loop of what kind of the process of what is our representation, but much larger than us representation is, and so that we're all on the same page. And this is a day where I wish I had a million, I wish I could have done something about it, but I think that me and Representative Rick are equally bummed out about this. So that is the end of my report.
Now, is there any questions for the executives?
So this question is directed at PPSD or Lehman.
Volunteering for the conflict is back during community service hours at one Miami.
Are you acting?
Are there any more questions for the executive reports? Seeing none, we'll move on to periodic reports, starting with the faculty senate student representative.
Okay, so hi everyone. To start off, I would like to correct myself from last week. Last week I stated that the faculty senate would be discussing the administration's decline to motion 2106 about immigration enforcement transparency on campus. This was in fact not discussed during the meeting, rather it had been discussed during a subcommittee, so that was my mistake. But there were also notable things discussed during this meeting. To start off, there were some controversies between faculty and the Title IX accessibilities services presenter, because she presented about Title II compliance and rates, and the presenter went from saying that compliance can't be just trying, you have to be actually at 100% compliance, to then, after the faculty raised concerns with that, saying that it is okay to just try. This really just raised further tensions with the Senate, because if resources such as articles, PDFs, and slide decks are not accessible specifically to screen readers by April 24th, that would lead to them having to be removed from grade space pages. As many of us know, this is the week right before finals. So the faculty was quite displeased with this. The issue is less that the faculty didn't want to make their resources accessible, and more that the expectations were gray, and that it might result in certain resources that individuals have been teaching with for years not being allowed anymore. A further point to note from the meeting was that during a debate about the budget, faculty learned that at that moment, a lot of them were going to lose research funding that they had been saving up in their accounts unless it was over $2,000. So really what this means is that some of the faculty that have been doing research that maybe been saving a little bit from each year to maybe fund grad students or buy new equipment, unless they had currently saved over $2,000 in their account, it was all getting taken away. This was theoretically to help alleviate the multi-million-dollar debt that we are in. Many issues with many faculty brought up the point that we already have the worst share ratio of all our research institutes in the entire country. So the administration said that they will be looking at other options aside from this going forward. And a report.
University of Maine Board of Trustees student representative.
Hi, everyone. I have not much to say beyond what President Kirk said. I am proud of our campus for filling our responsibilities. I'm really excited about the candidate that we chose. I wish that the other 6 campuses had also put together a hiring committee. And I guess that with my frustration, I will do a really thorough job outlining the policy for student trustee selection. Will be, and I mentioned this by not. So, yes.
What a privilege, just so I can say it, because I feel like the way I said it earlier was scary. When I say it failed, what I mean is like in the strict sense, we didn't follow, essentially the law requires a primary and a secondary candidate for graduates and undergraduates. And because there was no secondary candidate, that means it didn't meet like the requirements of the thing. So I don't know, we simply don't know what it looks like moving forward. There's a world where we simply submit the undergraduate candidate, they get confirmed, but part of the law too is that the graduate and undergraduate candidates can't be from the same campus, which would mean it would kind of directly disenfranchise whoever the GSG themselves put up, right? Do you see what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So like, we're just in a gray area and we're gonna figure it out. But kind of to Representative Britt's point, we have some work to do on the policy side, and I am also looking into potentially legislative side of things, some changes to the wording of the law that would allow some more clear guidance for undergraduates, and also the potential alternative of university president's offices. And this is all conceptual, so whatever is written about this, whatever, just know that this is coming up on the fly of this. So that president's offices, say President Freddie Monday, if we fail to produce a candidate, they could submit undergraduate candidates. Does that make sense? So we're gonna work through it, but it's a 4-year project that's gonna become a 6-year project, so. Good luck.
Does the advisor to student government have a report?
Oh, for
Here are the fair election practices commissioner.
Hi, everyone. The 25th will be the candidates smiling table / Town Hall. It'll be here in Union. It'll be at 6 p.m. I don't have an exact room yet, but flyers will be going out hopefully. Let all your friends know, spread the word. If they have any gripes with UMSG, if they have any ideas about what they want to see on this campus in the next year, it's a great forum for any student to come and give their opinion, to get feedback on any event being put forth, and really pose any question to our candidates. Moving forward, just looking at the future, election week will be starting on March 2nd. We'll be having in-person voting on that Monday. Last year we did it Friday and I got maybe 20 people. And so I'm hoping that on Monday, more people will be out and about in the Union. So that week, March 2nd until March 6th is when voting will be. So check your emails or come in person. And if you come in person and possibly over email, you will get a fun I voted sticker. If you're interested in seeing the designs, I can show them to you. And I'm hoping that next week I will also be able to send them out with like the Senate files so that everyone will get a copy, even or at least be able to see them, even if you don't come up and talk to me. And report.
Student Legal Services Liaison,
No report.
representative to the Graduate Student Senate, no report. Board of County Council Liaisons. Does anyone have that report? Anything on? Does anyone have the Old Town City Council Liaison report?
To the second, right? Yeah, no. Go ahead. Third, oh.
Oh.
I thought maybe you had it up. I thought I did. You said we'll give it next week. Okay.
I never been.
Thank you, Senator Noor. Representative of Military and Veteran Student Affairs.
No report.
Director of Communications, does anyone have that report? The Director of Technology? No report. Does anyone have the University of Maine Security Representative report? No. The Center of Undergraduate Research Liaison? No report. Does anyone have any questions for the periodic reports?
Question for Senator Goodspeed. So, or a few questions actually. So about the research thing, did you say that they found out that they were getting their kind of money stripped away at the meeting, or did they know beforehand?
So that was a big point of tension. Theoretically, some emails have been sent out to department chairs. Communications had not been distributed down the line yet. So a lot of the faculty did find out in that moment. This emails were sent out a little later to the department chairs they should have been.
Wow, okay. Second question, regarding the what was the first part of your fourth motion to be brought up?
Yeah, so that was 2601. I was reading the agenda and it was actually something that had just been discussed in a subcommittee and wasn't actually even supposed to be discussed in the main meeting. It was just, they had been talking about previously how just the administration declined to kind of support going along with the motion, which really would have just made it so the university had to alert students immediately if immigration enforcement was on campus.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions for the PRI reports? Seeing as moving on to reports of standing committee, starting with policy.
Hello, everybody. Just one resolution tonight. We have at least one resolution tomorrow to add the security reps to committee bylaws. There might be more, we shall see. I'm working on a polypro post for our DOC, which we will discuss a bit tomorrow as well. End of report.
Does anyone have the report for services? Academic affairs.
Hello, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed your long weekend. I don't have too much to report because I can't read a calendar, and the academic affairs faculty meeting is this week, not last week, so it's tomorrow at 3:30. So I'll be going to that. I can't make it.
30.
Yes. Do you want me to forward you the Google calendar invite?
The only gap I have is from 3:30 to 4, so yeah.
Oh, okay. So actually, I wrote my report before I got the agenda for the meeting, so my report is incorrect. We will not be working on abridged syllabi at all. We will be working on one of the like hangups as President Tripp put it for the syllabus project, along with some other things that I'll talk about next week. Which is about some concerns from faculty about doxing, which I guess has happened at certain universities. I'll have more information about it at the meeting. I'm also meeting with Associate Provost Scott Barzilli this Thursday, so please let me know of anything you would like me to bring up to him before Thursday at 3 o'clock when the meeting is. Academic affairs will continue to be on Monday from 4 to 5 unless I get requests to change the time. So if you want to come to academic affairs and you're not fulfilling your Senate requirements, please reach out to me. That's all I have right now. Thank you. And the report.
Are there any questions for the standing committees? Moving on to reports of special committees, starting with holistic health and wellness.
Hi, everybody. I hope you have a good long weekend. In committee this week, we decided on the date we will be tabling, and by a singular vote, swaying it, we will be tabling March 9th from 12 to 2 p.m. That's either a Monday, Wednesday, or a Friday. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it is March. So catch us in the union from 12 to 2. As a reminder, our committee meets at Thursday on what?
It's Monday.
It's a Monday. That's wonderful. We're going to be in the union on Monday. As a reminder, our committee meets in the Wade Center on Thursdays at 4 p.m. Also, I mentioned this in the chat twice now. I mentioned it in the Holistic Health and Wellness Committee chat. I'm really looking for a proxy for the Black Bear Care Council on Tuesday, February 20th. From 2 to 3 p.m. If you are at all kind of interested in talking to admin at the university or like student life directors or being in that room and being part of the conversation for student mental health, please let me know. If I really have to skip my class, I will. Unfortunately, this is the third time in a row that the committee has scheduled for one of my only classes of the day. So this is increasingly frustrating, but worked really hard to get students involved in this. Would love to keep doing that. If you're free at that time, let me know. End of report.
Food and dining fairs.
Everyone, I have a meeting this week with Sodexo on Thursday to discuss student concerns guiding changes in our future partnership. This is a critical tone-setting meeting, and its success depends on representing a broad range of student opinions, not just my own or those of a few individuals. The Food and Dining Committee meets on Wednesdays immediately following Polypro. I cannot effectively represent the entire student body in terms of dining alone. Low senator attendance or no senator attendance suggests either satisfaction with dining or a lack of interest in its improvement. And currently, last week, only Representative Emery was there, which means I didn't actually have anybody there because he doesn't need to be there. And isn't a senator. He isn't a senator. So I already talked about it. He knows what I mean in that. I didn't have like, he's on my attendance sheet, but he doesn't really qualify as like an attending person. If there's no interest in active participation, then the Food and Dining Special Committee should not continue. We all know many students are dissatisfied with campus dining, but we are currently failing to represent those concerns. If you have feedback or suggestions for improvement, please attend our meetings or message me directly. There is a larger conversation we had, and your input is essential. Thank you.
Undergraduate Student Symposium,
No report.
Voter Involvement and Education Committee.
Hi, everyone. Not much to report this week, but from my report last week, I went back to college Republicans and I'm planning on keeping in touch with them throughout the semester. Since committee attendance has been a little lower than I had hoped, I will be sending out a new one to me, and I asked that everyone in the Voter Involvement and Education Committee chat to fill that out as soon as possible. But as of now, the meeting will be held at its regular time tomorrow at 11:30 in the Wade Center.
Does anyone have the non-traditional commuter and transfer students report? Are there any questions for the special committees? President Tripp.
Question for Senator Collmore. We haven't done any public, like, social media push for your committee or the.
We're going to.
We're going
That's
to.
going to be on the 24th.
I think that that's a good place to start, and I think that would be good to maybe make it one of our more public facing committees.
I also wanna hold an event at some point as more of like a larger, like if we put food and stuff, and we have like a larger discussion in the bingo room or something about it. So we have our committees and we have one big.
Great.
Gathering event.
Are there any other questions for the special committees? Representative Emery.
I have a question for Senator Dana, but also to anybody who can answer this. Like I'm curious about when both the college Republicans and the college Democrats are meeting on campus. I've been finding it.
The college Democrats don't exist anymore, so they're called the College Progressives, and the president of that is Maeve Durkee, if you wanna get in contact with that, unless you have that a little.
You said time,
Time.
like we meet at Thursdays at 6 in, I think usually loan room.
Loan room.
Should be on meetings or on campus groups.
Check campus group.
Check campus answers.
Good answer.
Any other questions for the special committees?
Not necessarily a question, but Senator Cowell, I can probably proxy for you if you need.
Any other questions? Seeing none, moving on to Representative Board report, starting with the Honors College Student Leadership Council.
I have that report.
Thank you.
Officer applications open today. This announcement was distributed to all honors student emails. They will also be told through honors RAs and professors. The info session for voting is this Thursday in Colvin 401 from 5 to 6 p.m. Pizza will be offered, and Lindsay's office hours this week will change to Thursday 2 to 4 p.m. in the Wade Center due to a scheduled conflict. They will resume to normal times next week.
Interfraternity Council.
Yeah, another FSL trivia night will be this Thursday from 5 to 6 at Wells. Reminder, winning team gets a free stein, so show it if you want those. We will be voting on the separation of our bylaws and constitution as talked about last week tomorrow, as well as our VP DEI spot, supposed to be voted on last week, but there were paper submissions last semester that I was not made aware of, so we had to scrap the election so that they could actually be counted. So that will be tomorrow as well. And as of now, the current total fraternity membership count is 505 undergrad students. I report.
Penn Helena Council.
Hi, everyone. We presented our new updated bylaws during the meeting last week, and we're hoping to vote on them next week, just giving chapters time to look over the new updated bylaws. And then this week, tomorrow, we are presenting our new recruitment bylaws. And then the VP of Philanthropy panel had a meeting with other philanthropy chairs from each chapter to do a presentation about the Circle of Sisterhood for their chapters by the end of this month. She wants at least 5 sisters from each month to sign up to be involved with this organization. And basically, Circle of Sisterhood mission is to have a collective influence of sorority women to raise financial resources around the world to remove barriers to education for girls and women facing poverty and oppression. And then updates of our recruitment, VPI, Pi-Phi, Chi Omega, and AP have completed COV, which is continuous open bidding. And from what I heard, reached chapter total. And then lastly, what the chapters are up to this week or like upcoming weeks. DZ is doing a St. Patrick's Day raffle sometime in March. They'll have hopefully more details about that shortly. DeFi's lead team is registered to attend their international forum in June. And then lastly, Chi Omega is doing a yoga event with their sisters this Thursday. They're doing this event to focus on their sisters' mental and physical health during this busy semester. And a report.
Student Athletic Advisory Council.
Hi everyone, so it was a tough weekend for the Black Bears, our only was baseball winning at Duke on Friday. Besides that, we're holding a community service event on this Friday for all student athletes to sign up and help the community and a report.
Senior Class Council.
Hi everyone, so we're currently in talks with the Alumni Association for hosting an event, senior class to learn more about what the Alumni Association is, what it does, and how to remain involved with the university post-graduation, so stay tuned for some more details about that event. We're also currently undergoing a search for an artistically inclined student to help with last gift. So we have a conceptual design already made up and are just now looking for someone to help bring it to life. We're gonna be providing some compensation for the students that help out with this. So if you're interested or you know someone who might be interested, please contact me or you can DM our Instagram, which is at UMaine 2026 Class Council by Thursday, February 26th. And there are only 81 days left until graduation and report.
Sustainability Environmental Action Division.
A report from my recent meeting with Sodexo for their sustainability plans available. We were able to get their waste overview from the past 2 years, as well as continuing conversations on increasing students' awareness of food waste efforts on campus. We're also talking to them about doing larger student outreach programs, both increasing student awareness. And the Sustainability Field Day is planning underway, and we have 5 clubs submitted interest so far, with more teams announced in the coming weeks. End of report.
Are there any questions for the representative board reports? President Trick.
I have 2 questions. First one is for the senior class representative. Can you tell us what the gift is?
We're going to be doing a mural. If you all are familiar with like the Neville Hall area, there's that like blank wall. We'll be doing a mural there.
Cool. Underneath? No?
No, like
I'm thinking of a different.
separate wall. Yeah.
Understood. Second question is for my Greek life representatives. Have we figured out, I know we've kind of been battling in EDC, not really battling, but we've been ironing out the Greek Week funding. Do you know if we've had that figured out and are ready for Friday?
I know, Katie told me that she's trying to get IFC to request more funding because I think from my understanding, we had around $2,000 in that range for Greek Week funding, and we usually split Greek Week with IFC, so we're hoping that Jason can request more funding on IFC's behalf.
Yeah, I'm currently working with the VP Finance to put it into our budget. It wasn't in the last one, so we're kind of figuring out how to properly, or to ask for the proper amount into this next.
Can we make it a point to make sure that that's all ready to go for Friday? And also follow up with VP Bohm beforehand to make sure to kind of double, triple check? Thank you guys. That's it.
Are there any more questions for the representative board reports? We're moving on to community association report, starting with Student Heritage Alliance Council.
Hi, everybody. Last Thursday, we had a really successful meeting at Libby Hall. The advisor to the Franco-American Resource Opportunity Group cooked us like a great meal, and everybody really appreciated it. Discussion was lively, and we talked extensively about some of the things that we think could see improvement, and the campus groups was one of them that came up. I think just today alone, my question surrounding activities happening on campus points to, 2 things being true at once, that it's an incredible resource to have all of the events on campus listed in one spot, I think is incredible. But just the execution, I think, has left a lot to be desired. Sentiments that came up with that, like it's clunky, it's not very accessible, hard to navigate. And so I guess it's just something that we'll throw out there. Also tomorrow morning, students and community members who do not represent the Franco-American Resource Opportunity Group or the Student Heritage Alliance Council are going to be protesting the demolition of Crossland. I've tried to distance both of these organizations from it, letting all involved know that we take a more reconciliatory path to what's happening with the building. And it's disappointing that I think it's come to this, but they have the right to protest, so they're going to be doing that unassociated with a Farag Day. I also want to thank Senator Valette, who showed interest in a new club here at Maine. And we had a meeting surrounding starting this up, or let's say adapting a pre-existing club that's been struggling. While that second option won't be pursued, I think there's still room for what we can tentatively call a Central European cultural club. So if anybody knows anybody who's interested in that, I implore you please let them know that I'm here for them, and that Shaq will do whatever we can to make sure that students are represented in whatever capacity that may be. We'll be voting our next executive meeting this Thursday at Wells. The last time we did it, it was like a really good success, a great bonding experience, and I think instilled a lot of interest in Shaq among those who went. So I'm looking forward to it. End of report.
Wildstein, Clear Street Alliance.
Student auditions for the drag show will be this Thursday, February 19th, at 7 p.m. in the IMRC room 104. We'll also be accepting video auditions until this Friday. This is a really great opportunity for anyone who's interested in trying drag or to get your I did drag one time in college story. If you're even slightly curious about performing, feel free to contact me to sign up. The worst you can do is sign up and not actually audition. I wouldn't be mad. As a reminder, the drag show will be on April 11th at 7 p.m. at the CCA. This week at Wildstein, we'll be narrowing down our list of possible Lavender Prom themes to a top 3 or 5. Next week, I will share with you all what the top contender themes are, as well as the date for that event. We're still a while out from beginning to plan Lavender graduation, but knowing that for those of us who are graduating, our schedules are beginning to fill with ceremonies and celebrations. I wanted to share the date for that. Lavender graduation will be on May 2nd from 1 to 3 p.m., likely here in the Bangor room. If you're not graduating or do not plan to be a part of the ceremony, I still highly encourage you to put this on your calendars to celebrate the achievements of your peers at fellow Black Bears.
International Student Association.
I don't have all the recruit that I want to present today because our coordinator from the work was sick and she was not able to talk to me that much today. But our rehearsal started on Friday. This is on last Thursday and resumed until the evening. International Student Association successfully hosted the largest event of the semester last Saturday. The event was conducted in 2 sessions, one at 2 p.m. and the other one was in the evening at 7, which reached full auditorium capacity, especially the afternoon one was. So, as the event co-coordinator, I oversaw operation for both front stage and backstage management, which included supervising the supervising programs, including performers, managing transition between performers, and also in ensuring smooth communication among the organizing teams. In the meantime, the event was supported by at least approximately 30 to 40 volunteers. The majority of them were the ones who joined us this semester, who joined UMaine this semester, international students. And also, like, they supported us in different aspects, like, for example, stage preparation, technical coordination, crowd management, and general logistics. And actually, their collective effort contributed significantly to the overall success of the program. In the meantime, the attendance exceeded our expectation because in the evening, in the afternoon, we were almost about to open the balcony, so which we were not expecting, but still people just managed to sit over there. Evening was also fun, and kids, families, everybody's were there. And also we had a very take a chance to invest for the ISA events and also somehow cover the costs of the event that we, I think we collected almost 600 something in donations, and also we had some snacks and water and stuff to sell over there. Unfortunately, we only had one injury, and that was very unfortunate. That was in the evening show that one of the performers hurt her ankle, but she was taken care of urgently. And I talked to her yesterday. She's feeling better now, and we will be in contact with her. So I would like to thank President Keegan and also our friend, sorry for my name, Casper Cohen, joined us for the meeting, for the event, and some other friends who joined us, just to put their names. So when the event got over, we had our after party in the World Center. We served all the performers and also the volunteers with Indian food, and we had a karaoke night, and I think that was so fun. So that's my for yeah, long vision. End of it.
Point of privilege. I did forget something in my report and I had it written here, but I do want to do a round of applause for such a great International Dance Festival for IFAC. Myself, Senator Cowan, and Vice President Lehman were able to attend. But seriously, the work that you put into that, I know the back, like you just said, front, backstage, all of that. So huge kudos to you guys. It was an awesome event. And I'm sorry I let the student trustee news take me away from the written notes that I wrote, which was that. So that's it.
Accessibility on campus?
No report this week.
Are there any questions for the community association reports? Senator Cowan.
For representative Daniel, is Lavender Prom happening this semester? You know when? Did that already happen?
I said in my report that I will be announcing the date and the potential themes for that next week.
Any more questions? Seeing none, if it's the the Senate, we'll be entering a 5-minute recess, beginning at 7:28. Seeing nothing under unfinished business, we'll now move into new business, starting with the election of the representative to the Machias Student Senate. President
Can I
Trump.
talk on this first, real quick?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the position that we established last week. I sent the past resolution to the Machias Student Senate. They will be electing their counterpart to this tomorrow. So get excited for that. And to reiterate, just so everybody's on the same page, this is a position that can technically be held by a senator or a representative, should you want it, and would be a 1-point position. And also, you are not going to or sitting through Machias Senate meetings. You will meet with essentially an equivalent to you, and you'll have like a one-on-one 30-minute meeting, maybe bi-weekly. You guys can decide to update each other about your meeting. Does that make sense? Because they don't have Zoom capabilities like we do, and I think that makes the most sense. But this is super exciting and a step toward having a better relationship with what is an extension of our own campus.
Are there any questions regarding what the position is? No. Okay, I'm now looking for nominations for this position. President Trump.
I nominate Senator Blatt. Acceptance.
President Tripp.
Nominate Senator La Madrid.
Are there any more nominations for this position? Senator Oldfield, put a question.
Yes. So yes, last week when we voted on this, more of you raised your hand that you were interested in the position. Can you guys raise your hand again?
Senator Weber.
So we're just doing the vote of all in this one meeting?
Yeah.
For senators that are not here, because I know like Senator, I think St. Pierre said he was interested. How is that one? They just, you're not here, not going, or we're doing the voting?
I guess if the Senate wanted to table elections next week, they absolutely could. But it's kind of up to you, and then if they're not here, they automatically accept nominations, but do that at your own risk. Maybe somebody text them. But also,
If someone wants to make a motion, they can, but if there's no more nominations, no motions. Congratulations. Alright, moving on to 47S, POL 24, clarification and modernization of the Hiring Policies Act. Do I need to move the podium?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This will be a parking lot. No. Nope, I'm lying. It won't be, but it'll be straightforward, I promise. And generally, if there are grammar problems, please just say that, we'll make it a larger grammar motion. Not big problem. You get it?
This on the station, what is it? How much did you get? Okay. It was on time, a minute, that's, I was looking at the farm, that's it. I think it might be easier if I, that's especially if I do it, yeah. It's not, it's just. Well. Yeah, it's like. So. Okay, there, yeah. Maybe. Okay.
Senator Smarts. Before we start, I would just like to state that this was reformatted. As well, that was a stipulation, it was reformatted to the current formatting that would pass last week.
Oh, yeah, like this. Did you do that? Great.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, in redoing the hiring and employment policy for the first time in I think like 7 years, there was a lot that, much like our other documents, is either outdated because we don't do it, or infeasible because of how things have changed, or simply not aligned with precedent. So what I did, and I went through this, is pretty much bring us up to speed about how hiring has been done for the past few years, as well as added into words the precedent for filling vacancies that happen mid-year. And we're gonna get into all of that, and I'm gonna go line for line, so nothing gets confused, but just know that this is going to look like on paper an expansion of the president's powers. In practice, it is not that, and the polypro senators can attest, reiterates it time and time again that the Senate is the final arbiter on hiring, but this basically streamlines and brings us up to date and also adds an appointment clause, and I'm just gonna start reading it because I've lost myself. Okay. So, this is an act to adopt the following policy revisions to the recently reformatted UMSG hiring and employment policies to streamline and update the student employee hiring process. Wowzers. Whereas, the hiring and employment policies of the University of Maine student government are essential for ensuring fairness, transparency, and institutional continuity in the hiring of student employees, while also maintaining compliance with UMSG's obligation as a 501c organization. And whereas, the existing hiring policy has become difficult to interpret and apply due to outdated language, internal inconsistencies, and deviations from established practice, creating confusion for hiring committees, candidates, and student leadership alike. And whereas, recent hiring cycles have demonstrated the need for clearer delineation of roles and responsibilities among hiring committees, the UMSG president, and the General Student Senate, particularly with respect to decision-making authority, documentation, and confirmation. And whereas, Explicitly recognizing the UMSG president as the principal hiring officer aligns the policy with current operational realities while preserving the Senate's role as final arbiter on all matters through advice and confirmation. And whereas establishing clear procedures for reappointments and irregular vacancies provides continuity in student operations while maintaining transparency and Senate involvement in exceptional circumstances. And whereas the hiring process requires a more substantial investment of time and effort from student leaders and hiring committees, often within limited academic and employment windows, and excessive procedural rigidity can hinder the timely filling of essential positions. And whereas allowing for a more flexible and efficient hiring or appointment process in irregular circumstances aligns with existing institutional practices, including the president's authority to appoint with GSS confirmation a new vice president should the position fall vacant, and is consistent with historical precedent such as the appointment of then Senator Chaplin to vice president for student leadership by President Bray in spring 2023. And whereas these policy updates are intended not to centralize power, but to standardize process, reduce ambiguity, and ensure that hiring decisions are made efficiently, fairly, and in the best interest of the undergraduate student body. Each clarification of authority is accompanied by a clarification of GSS check and balance. Let's get into it. All right, so I'm just going to go through the changes, and I would suggest that you ask questions as we go. Does that make sense? So just like stop me. So we are changing in this resolve essentially just some wording clarification. I know that Senator Oldfield and VP Bohm hopefully will appreciate these. So instead of it saying the process is written here, it says clearly the hiring process outlined in this article. There you go. No questions about what we're talking about. This document derives its legitimacy from the standing rules of the University of Maine General Student Senate. Second thing is already insinuated, and we're just cutting out some just again repeat things. So, and then this is a big strike. This document shall be amended by the General Student Senate by motion thereto, no previous notification with no other special relations. I don't even know why that says that in there. That's just outlining how all of our resolutions work, and we already know that. So I cut that and replaced that with the UMSG president shall be considered the principal hiring officer. The president is responsible for drafting and presenting a hiring timeline to the GSS, as well as a list of positions being hired and reappointed before the process begins. The president historically already does this, but is not required to do this for the General Student Senate, and I think it absolutely should. And there should be an accountability for that. You're going to see my hiring timeline and process later, and you're going to be able to object to positions that I'm reappointing without a hiring committee. That is an important power that I think the Senate should absolutely have written out. It is now written out. So that is a big actual fallback for the Senate. And the other reason why it's so important to have the UMSG considered the principal hiring officer is because we went through a semester last semester where the executive administrative assistant who currently held most of the authority over managing and overseeing the hiring process was not here. This student government is by students, for students, and run by students. And this and all the changes I make puts the power back in the hands of the elected students over this process. That make sense? Okay, moving into the next. Article B, section 2, advertisement and application shall be amended to read as follows. So it will now say, when a position is to be regularly hired, this is to differentiate from what we're going to get into, which is irregular hiring, but we'll get there when we get there. C, the changes, application of the position in whatever form they may take shall be submitted to the UMSG president and executive administrative assistant. There it is, another clause in which the president would have been totally removed, and we wouldn't have been able to even do hiring last semester if we followed it to a T. D, changes. Members of the hiring committee may review submitted application once provided to them by the UMSG president or EIA. This basically before disallowed anybody on the committees to see applications before all applications were in. I don't think that's time efficient. I think that it makes sense to be able to review as they come in, as they are officially got in, so when all the materials are in. So this just kind of frees that up, and that's standard practice already. And again, it allows for either my position or BJ's position to handle that depending on the year and where we're at. Resolved, Article 5. Am I crazy? Yes. Section 3, hiring committee shall be amended to read as follows. So nothing changed, doesn't change. Okay. This is a change, a hangover change from like a while ago when we expanded committees from being from 3 to 5. The resolution that was drafted and passed then did not address all instances of that. This is fixing that. So catching something else with a stone, doing well. The hiring committee may be composed of specific employees of UMSG depending on the position being hired. That's just some clarification. Hiring committees must comply with the following stipulations. So this was another part that would have disallowed us from doing some of the hiring is because it requires the executive administrative assistant. So BJ's position, it also has requirements for Sean's position and Pam's position. It's all written here, but I kind of changed it up. But I then added, in the event that either of the positions listed to be on hiring committees in subsection C, part A and B is vacant, the requirement does not apply. This frees us so that if Jeff or somebody like Jeff walks in the middle of the semester, again, which is fine, we don't have to not have a hiring committee. Does that make sense? You know, those tweaks just kind of allow for contingencies. Great. Having met these criteria, the remaining members of hiring committees shall be selected on a volunteer basis from among executives and non-student employees of UMSG. So this E was what, this was all written in that, and it just needed to be broken out. So this is all kind of more clarification. So F, if fewer than 2 or more than 5 qualified individuals volunteer, the UMSG president shall appoint members of the hiring committee at their discretion, and that decision shall be final. The president may not appoint themselves. So this is a clarification. Basically it is by volunteer, but in practice it's been kind of assigned, and then we as an executive round based on interest and whatnot. But this just makes clear that I myself can appoint myself to committees that are recommendations that would give me like several votes on something I should not have any on. So more clarification about powers and checks on that. Should a potential conflict arise, and this is not written anywhere. Should a potential conflict of interest arise, the affected committee member must notify the UMSG president as soon as possible. At the UMSG president's discretion, the committee member may be removed or replaced. This is to make sure that if there is somebody, say, dating somebody who's now applying for the job, they cannot serve on that committee. And there was that before, there is one now. Huge check and balance, that's important. And finally, the UMSG president shall determine the chair of each hiring committee. The chair shall be responsible for leading interviews, compiling notes, and delivering the committee's recommendation and vote tally to the UMSG president and EAA. There has been no definition to this point of what a chair of a committee does and what it needs to do. I think it makes sense to clarify that, and we've kind of been running that because it's common sense. But I think it's, again, important for my folks in the back to make sure it's clear and you can read it and you know exactly what you do in 10 years when none of us are here. Hopefully. Okay. Resolved. Ooh, what is this one? Okay, so this is where we're really trying to make some policy changes about differentiating between regular hiring and the application process. And I basically stripped this to its bare bones and wrote out exactly how we've done hiring in the past, so it is clear and makes sense. So let me walk you through that. A, the logistics of hiring shall be determined by the UMSG president, provided they are consistent with this document. Don't break the rules, even if you're the president. Great. Either the EAA or the UMSG president shall handle availability polling of committee members and candidates, as well as interview scheduling, clearly defined in that. C, either the EAA or the UMSG president shall maintain consistent communication and information sharing with candidates throughout the process. That's clear cut and makes sense. D, once the application deadline is passed, the UMSG president and EAA shall review the application materials. Qualified candidates who have submitted all required materials shall proceed. Unqualified candidates shall be informed as to the reason why their application is invalid or incomplete. Currently, there's nothing that says that you have to do that. I think that we've done that as common practice for a long time, but it should just be put in there that people should be able to correct their applications if they submitted it wrong or whatnot, and that information should be given to them. E, once materials are reviewed, the UMSG president and the EAA shall compile the application materials and interview questions for each committee. F, once the application materials are compiled, the hiring committees as determined by the UMSG president shall be convened by their chairs and interview candidates as outlined in subsection 5 of this article. Great. And G, once the interview process is complete, the hiring committee and UMSG president shall follow the decision and notification process as outlined in subsection 6 of this article. I put in all this in here so that you can see exactly what corresponds to which parts of this so that you don't have to guess and find it. It's like, oh, next you go here, you check here. It's like a choose your own adventure book. It's so straightforward. So section 5, interview process. This is what the interview process will look like. All applicants whose applications meet all necessary qualifications shall be eligible for an interview. Straightforward. B, interviews shall be scheduled by the UMSG president or EAA, and the hiring committee shall be made aware of the interviews as dates and times are decided. C, interviews shall consist of a list of questions decided upon prior to the start of interviews. These questions should be written by the UMSG president with input from the hiring committee chairs. Interviewers should strive to remain consistent in the questions they ask across candidates. Standard practice. We had a question in Polypro whether or not this prevents people from asking common sense follow-ups during committee meetings. No, this is just saying that Generally, when we're interviewing people, we want to keep it consistent across things so that we don't have, the committee really gauging in on somebody and kind of building them up as a potential and not the other. So it's kind of fair and equal. But no, you can do necessary follow-up questions. D, each interview shall conclude when the hiring committee has asked all the questions and any additional questions the candidate may ask have been answered. And E, once the interview process is complete, the hiring committee and UMSG president shall follow the decision and notification process as outlined in subsection 6 of this article. Now we're going to get into subsection 6 of this article. Okay. Section 6, decision, GSS confirmation, and notification. I added GSS confirmation in there to make, again, very clear that the final arbiter and who gets to make all the decisions is in fact you all in the Senate. Fun fact, hiring doesn't go to the cabinet. It ends here. So when things are hired and passed through here, that is the last step. You are the ones who essentially offer the position to the candidate. So A, the hiring committee shall convene at least one final time to discuss who shall be recommended to the UMSG president for hire. B, upon reaching a final decision, the hiring committee chair shall report the recommended candidate's name and the vote tally to the UMSG president. The chair shall also submit all interview notes and a written explanation outlining how and why the committee reached its decision. Upon submission of this recommendation, the committee shall dissolve. So this adds a little bit of clarification on the role of the chair. The chair must provide some sort of written communication as to how the candidate came to that conclusion so that the president can use that in their compiling of notes. This doesn't mean a 2-pager. This could literally be an email with the materials, right? But it just basically adds some kind of structure to how this decision is communicated. If no applicant is deemed qualified for the position, the hiring committee may deny all applications and restart the process. D, the UMSG president shall consider the recommendations of the hiring committee and serve as the final arbiter in determining who is recommended to the General Student Senate. All recommendations from the UMSG president must be accompanied by a resume, a cover letter, and, if applicable, the committee recommendation tally. So, some kind of history here. The UMSG president has always been the final arbiter for the recommendation. What this means is the committees meet, they make their recommendations, they would give them to me. I've done this before, I did this last year, and then I ultimately decide which candidate or who goes to the Senate. Now, technically, that would allow me to put anybody I want forward. But if I did that, I would have to tell you that that's what I'm doing, which will get clarified here in the next thing. But that has always been the case. What this clarifies is that now, which has not been the case in the past, that all applicants that come to the Senate must be accompanied by a cover letter and a resume. This was a push and pull from the Senate from a while ago. That seems common sense. It's always been done. We should just write in the policy that that's what's required so that also the president knows going into this, if they've never done a hiring process, what they're supposed to have ready and compiled. Does that make sense? So no expansion of anything, this is how it's always been, but it's actually a clarification as to what the Senate, I think, deserves to see if they're gonna make a decision on hiring somebody. So E, the General Student Senate shall serve as the final arbiter of the hiring process and reserves the right to confirm or reject by simple majority vote any recommendation made by the UMSG president or a hiring committee. Should a recommendation be rejected, the UMSG president must present another qualified candidate at the next regular meeting for consideration. A, so subsection A, upon confirmation of a candidate, all applicants shall be informed of the outcome of their application. And B, part of that, in the event that the candidate ultimately rejects the position, the UMSG president must present another qualified candidate at the next regular meeting of the GSS. Any questions there? All pretty straightforward, just saying what already happens. Cool. So, this is a new section, and this clarifies a process that's been done in the past but has not been written out. So, subsection 7 shall be amended or added to Article 5 and read as follows. A, the UMSG president shall have the authority to bypass the standard hiring process when the individual currently holding a position is eligible and willing to continue serving. This determination shall rest with the UMSG president and should be made on the basis of their job performance to date. However, the decision must be disclosed to the General Student Senate, which reserves the right to discuss the issue in executive session with the relevant officer excused. So if I were to say, want to reappoint Vice President Feng to the Vice President Student Leadership position, spoiler, that's what I'm going to do later. You have already the power to say, no, we want you to hold a hiring committee meeting and basically do the whole process from scratch. We don't like him. That's the tip, right? You can do that already. This puts it in there so that you know that you can do that. Does that make sense? Cool. But It allows people who have already held those positions not to have to go all the way through a hiring committee process. And if we are set on somebody who's doing a great job, I think it would be one big letdown to hold the hiring committee just for procedure, and then ultimately go with the person that we already had. So, does that make sense? Why that works? Okay. And then finally, and this is kind of admittedly the policy change. So subsection 8 shall be added to Article 5 and read as follows. Section 8, irregular vacancy process. Should a position become vacant outside of the regular annual hiring process due to resignation or termination, the UMSG president shall either convene a hiring committee in accordance with Article 5, Section 3 of this document, or put forward a qualified candidate directly to the General Student Senate. This plan should be made clear to the Senate, and any such appointment shall be subject to the advice and confirmation of the General Student Senate and must be accompanied by a resume and cover letter. So, this would have allowed me to have gone and found a qualified clerk candidate and put it up without wasting 6 weeks of all of our time. You see the utility there? So it's very rare that we have a vice president fall off in the middle of the year. We did, in fact, during my first term, because he accepted a position elsewhere and it was the vice president of student organizations. He effectively resigned, but we had a long time in between to kind of set that up and get a hiring committee together. So that is a situation in which I think it would make sense that the president puts one together. Should somebody fall vacant much quicker than that, I think maybe at the beginning of a semester, somebody doesn't make their grades and are removed from that, we don't have 5 weeks to go without a vice president of student orgs. Does that make sense? Should something horrible happen to Vice President Lehman, under the current guidelines, I would not be able to appoint Assistant Vice President of Student Entertainment Hall to the position of VPSC. I would have to hold a whole committee and then find somebody, maybe Abby applies, but we would have to do the whole thing. Do you see how this is a utility? So this is essentially, technically, this is the expansion of my power, but what it would do is require me to put forward all of the materials and give you the final say. So if I'm trying to make a mid-year appointment of my best friend, who you all know and is not qualified, you can shoot that down. This does not give me the power to override anybody. It also, once again, gives the Senate the power through the already existing power of you being my boss, to direct me to hold a hiring committee should that be the choice for the Senate. That is the resolution. Are there any questions?
You've been reading that in Article 5, that Roman numeral 6. George still mentioned that.
This is a good point of information to me, or privilege. Thank you.
Any other questions for the speaker? You all.
Or listed if fewer than 2 or more than 5 qualified individuals volunteer, the UMSG president shall appoint members to the hiring committee at their discretion. If fewer than 2 apply, this means that you can put execs and non-UMSG people on that hiring committee. Is that what this enables you to do?
No, it clarifies somewhere else.
Says you may not appoint yourself, but it doesn't list that they have to be, at least not from what I got, I might have missed it though.
So that would be a wider issue of general clarification, because I'm under the impression that somewhere it says that it has to be student employees of what they're made up of.
Yeah, the one above it.
Okay. That's it?
Yeah.
That's it?
Point privilege, section, section 3C is the hiring committee may be composed of specific employees of the UMSG depending on the position being hired. And so it states there that it is the members of.
No, that's talking about BJ, Pam, and Sean. So my recommendation would be, let me fix it later, is my recommendation, because this is a general issue that the document already then doesn't express that. Yeah.
It does.
It does?
Oh,
Where?
yeah, I found it. And the above Article 6, Section 3, hiring committees. And you go down to where your edits are made. D and then E, having met these criteria, the remaining members of the hiring committee.
Yes.
Select on a volunteer basis from among executive and non-student employees. So even if you're appointing them, they still have to abide by E.
Yes.
And stating that it's at your discretion does not override that. Because in my reading, your discretion means that it's your complete discretion. And that discretion can override the requirement of others. But if that's not the case, that's just me.
No, it's just at my, it basically means that if I don't have enough people to sit on the vice president of student entertainment committee and you're free but just don't want to, I can tell you you have to. Yeah, because I'm your boss. Yeah. Yay! So that's how that works. So that should be, that's an error.
Are there any more questions for the speaker? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation? 400 off pass. I'm now looking for approval of the committee's recommendation. Senator Woodward.
I move to approve the committee's recommendation. Second.
Hearing a second, we'll now move into discussion. Senator Oldfield.
I have a question about the decision to dissolve the committee upon submission of the recommendation, because I know last year we selected, I believe it was a clerk candidate, and after they were confirmed, they chose not to take the position. So then we were scrambling without the committee available to select a new candidate to propose. And so I was wondering if it would make more sense to not dissolve the committee until the E and then A, upon confirmation of a candidate, all applicants shall be informed of the outcome of their application and the hiring committee dissolved. So the hiring committee exists until we have actually confirmed candidates.
So if you want to write it in there, you can. The concept here is that I create and destroy hiring committees at whim. So if it dissolved and we needed to do that, I would simply bloop, put it back together. Like that's, and because the other alternative there is that we may not have to do that. We did that, I think, because we didn't like or we weren't confident in the other clerk candidates, so we wanted to do more interviews.
We didn't even do more interviews.
Okay, then if not, it would still land in my, it would still, I guess, I think that was more of a, I think I leaned on you guys to give me the secondary recommendation, but really that doesn't change anything because at the end of the day, it now allows me to give a second recommendation, which would almost always be from the candidates that the committee has already vetted. But if you want to write that in there.
We dissolve them to like re-select the second option, if that makes sense.
Right, I'm just telling you that procedurally, it doesn't matter, but if you want to put it in there, you can.
Senator Sparks.
From my understanding of the policy, if it were to happen and the candidate pulled out after we decided to hire them, it would go back to like non-traditional hiring where as the president would have discretion over whether or not they submit their own candidate or they form a hiring committee.
So you should have told the candidate outside.
It would have been probation, but it would.
Point of information that it states that it only shall happen if it falls vacant outside of regular hiring. For not many cases, it will vacant during regular hiring processes. And so the president does not reserve the right for the immediate hiring committee. They do not reserve the right for that, as listed in here. And it's kind of the point of information. But when you listed that the president has the right to kind of after whim create hiring committees, does the president creating another hiring committee then get a second recommendation? Require there to be the whole hiring process happening again a second time, which I guess that would be my worry is that that's the hiccup. If the first person fail or falls through, then if you need to officially create a hiring committee, then do we have to go through the whole hiring process, get applications and resumes before the hiring committee can then put the names through?
So it says in, so section 6, subsection E, subsection B. In the event that the candidate ultimately rejects the position, the UMSG president must present another qualified candidate at the next regular meeting of the GSS. So that does give me the automatic return of a second nominee. So
like it also puts it, you know, in your hands. You get to pick the candidate, particularly as opposed to going through hiring.
Yeah. But I would, I mean, like, yes, but in practice, you can imagine that I would have to make it aware, I would have to make the Senate aware that I went through all the other candidates that the committee vetted, interviewed, hired, and decided to totally throw them all out. Like, yes, but the check and balance here is that the Senate, I think, is smarter than that.
Are there any other points for discussion?
But again, write it in if you have suggested language.
Any other points for discussion? Seeing none, debate. Any vote?
I think this is a good time as any is to talk about the feasibility of saying that all applicants who meet all necessary qualifications get an interview. Because I personally worry, what if we have a big push, the business school is like, you should do this now, and we get 17 candidates for VPFA. Communications gives us 17 candidates for the director of communications, and all that happens, where we actually get real engagement in all of our applications. Because every exec sits on about 3 different committees, and then every committee needs to at least to see all 17 of those candidates. What happens to the actual time that we have in our week to do the things that we need to do in our position? And it's not something we've run into in the past, but I do feel like it's something that should be accounted for. Maybe if there is more than a certain number of applicants to a position, that there's then, and then like a screening process initially, where just based on resumes and application, it happens, but.
President Trump.
I think that's really valid and just not a thought that was put up because this was more like kind of tackling the existing protocol. So my advice for that would be to do that later. I don't think that we'll have time to write that up. We'd have to talk about who gets to make decisions on who we interview or not. And at that time, if you wanted to write that in there, it would kind of fall to me or BJ. So a part of the committee vetting it is so it doesn't allow a filtering from one person, the president, or the EAA to make those decisions. And I don't know what infrastructure you would have to build to make that happen. So I would honestly think that like anybody qualified, we should make room to give an interview. I don't know what that would look like. We haven't run into that. So I say maybe we leave that to a later conversation, but I think absolutely valid. And I would love to see 17 candidates this year for VPFA.
Senator Sparks.
I think that overall, this document is full and there's nothing wrong with it. It could just use a couple of additions, so I think we should pass it as a whole. And then we can add the very specific additions that we haven't talked about at a later date.
President Trick.
We can also, like, to Senator Woolfield's point, if you want to make it to feel better about passing it and then potentially not coming back to it, someone could add a stipulation that maybe by not tomorrow, because I don't have time, but next week, like 2 Senates from now, I'll bring like a change to address those things if we want to add stipulations to this. But I agree, because now we're talking about kind of changing the new language. Let's get the new language in there and then tackle it that way.
Any new points for debate?
Look at a stipulation, that this be not brought back to the Senate, but
that Polypro will consider. What do you want us to consider, Senator Oldfield?
The dissolving of the hiring committees. The interview process in which all applicants are eligible for an interview.
Yes.
I think that's everything.
I think it's fair. Add that as a stipulation in 2 cents from now.
Second.
Hearing a second, we'll now enter discussion. Senator Sparks.
Should this stipulation pass, we can chat about it tomorrow in Polypro, and then it can be written up depending on how we're feeling written up next week.
Any other points for discussion? No debate? Seeing none, all those in favor of the stipulation? All those opposed? All abstaining? Seeing a clear majority, that passes. Next, back to debate on the resolution as amended on the stipulation. Any other points for debate? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? All abstaining? Seeing a clear majority of affirmative, that passes with the stipulation. Oh, we still have.
Yeah.
We will now be entering executive session. If you are a non-UMSG member, please exit the room.
Point of order, point of personal privilege.
Yes. Thank you. But the clerk please call the roll.
President Trent.
Here.
VP Silvergon.
Here.
VP Ball.
Here.
VP Lehman. VP Thompson.
Here.
VP Fine, I'm sorry. Director Arafat. Here. Commissioner Stankwitz.
Here.
Representative Britton.
Here.
Advisor Sadelko. Senator Vanderwood.
Here.
Senator Schultz. Senator DeLorme.
Here.
Senator Cowan.
Here.
Senator Chapin.
Here.
Senator Zeniello.
Here.
Senator Dana.
Here.
Senator Goodspeed.
Here.
Senator Zura.
Here.
Senator Villatt. Senator Madrid.
Here.
Senator Oldfield. Senator Rivera.
Here.
Senator Weber.
Here.
Senator Seward.
Here.
Senator Rideout.
Here.
Senator Soper.
Here.
Senator Zewong.
Here.
Senator Collmore.
Here.
Senator Sparks.
Here.
Senator Crowdy.
Here.
Senator Whitehead.
Here.
Senator Levesque.
Here.
Senator Donovan.
Here.
Representative Brunner.
Here.
Representative Knapp.
Here.
Representative Karpinski.
Here.
Representative Fanco.
Here.
Representative Emery.
Here.
Representative Gamble.
Here.
Representative Abed.
Here.
Representative Tremblay.
Here.
Did I miss anybody?
I'm here.
Just to clarify, if you are a proxy, this is, you're all set for tonight. So, only full members of the Senate can be here. Does that make sense? So I have to ask. Here.
VP Shelmerdine.
Here.
VP Bone.
Here.
VP Lehman. VP Thompson. Director Arafat. Here. Representative Stankovitz.
Here.
Representative Britton.
Here.
Senator Vanderwood. Senator DeLorme.
Here.
Senator Cowan.
Here.
Senator Chapin.
Here.
Senator Santiello.
Here.
Senator Dana.
Here.
Senator Goodspeed.
Here.
Senator Zura.
Here.
Senator Villatt, sorry.
Here.
Senator Madrid.
Here.
Senator Oldfield.
Here.
Senator Rivera.
Here.
Senator Weber.
Here.
Senator Seward.
Here.
Senator Rideout.
Here.
Senator Soper.
Here.
Senator Zewong.
Here.
Senator Collmore.
Here.
Senator Sparks.
Here.
Senator Crowdy.
Here.
Senator Whitehead.
Here.
Senator Levesque.
Here.
Senator Donovan.
Here.
Representative Brunner.
Here.
Representative Knapp.
Here.
Representative Karpinski.
Here.
Representative Fanco.
Here.
Representative Emery.
Here.
Representative Gamble.
Here.
Representative Abed.
Here.
Representative Tremblay.
Here.
Now that we're in public session, because we all voted on that, you don't need to hand these back to me.
And can you, is the recording back? Great, okay, welcome back. We're gonna go straight through, I'm not gonna go these point by point, but the general gist here is I have assigned these appointments per policy and it's flagged that way. Depending on, say, the Vice President of Financial Affairs requires Pam to be on that, and you can see that there. So if everybody wants to just kind of quickly peruse that. Basically, the chairs have been selected based on whether or not they are the returning executive. And except for the exception of the Director of Communications. Everything good with that? I gave the execs 2 full weeks to give me feedback about the committees that they're serving on. Everybody seemed to be chill with it. No one gave me any feedback. So everyone seems to be good. And something to note is that ABPSE Hall will be chairing their first committee. So this is the timeline. This is what people need to kind of pay attention to. So, timeline, Smith plans the Senate February 17th. We're there. Look at us. That's straightforward. So, second, and all of this has been shared with the executives, and I'm gonna forward this to Jason tonight to kind of remind him too. But there are dates in here for things that need to be posted, but essentially, the second thing is hiring applications open February 23rd. That's Monday. So if you're interested in, wait, yeah, it is, right? Yeah, That's Monday, so I have a lot of work to do. Jobs are gonna be posted through a link, posts will be made to the Instagram, we'll link the applications to our Insta bio, Linktree, Instagram can handle that, thank you, and then we'll email blast through Lori. Hopefully, and an application link will launch on the website. So all this will be getting done by the end of the week. So executives that this pertains to, lock in, we have a little bit of a week ahead of us. Third, opening announced to the Senate. This is just next Tuesday. I'm gonna remind you all that it's open. You guys, I hope that you'll consider applying to these positions. But know that everything is going live on Monday. Soft application deadline will be March 13th. Positions with enough applications will close. If there are any remain without applicants, we will keep them open and go from there. And Executive Administrative Assistant Finch will schedule interviews over break. Hope that isn't a shock to anybody. Okay. 5, the hopeful hard deadline is March 21st. Interviews begin March 23rd. Interviews will wrap April 3rd. Hard deadline for recommendations to myself from the committees will be April 5th. And we'll review and decide whether to move forward over the weekend. The first hiring committee will be Tuesday, April 7th. So my recommendations will be submitted to you all during an executive session. And then 10 will be the backup hiring meeting in the event that you deny any of my applications, they refuse the position, etc., etc. Are there any questions about that timeline? This gives us approximately 3 weeks for transition, which is huge. And if you weren't here last semester, I offered a bill that basically made it so training is compensated for the first time ever. So this will be our second year of true transitional training. And I think to our executives who returned or were brand new and got some training, I think it did wonders. It felt like we really hit the ground running this year. I'm excited to continue that with maybe even an additional week of shadowing. No questions there? Okay, and then finally, this is kind of what we already talked about. These are the positions I'll be hiring, all of them except the VPSL, and the position being reappointed will be the VPSL. And we kind of already did this marked, but this is what essentially will be required to be presented to the Senate every year should the resolution be just passed on the hiring policies past cabinet tomorrow, which I think is a good thing. And at the end of this, I'm looking not for like an official vote, but like an unofficial confirmation, just to make sure that we're all set with this. That's it.
Are there any questions, comments, concerns?
Take like an unofficial vote.
Yeah. Just for note, the UVFA's last name is Alden, all right now.
So I copied this from last year when, or actually I copied it from the year before, so it's been run for 2 years.
Also under DOT, it's DOT Aston. Like, who's that? You know what I'm saying? It should be DOT Arafat, should it not?
I changed the name. Beginning of the year. It's Arafat.
Oh, I think it went by your email, right?
In my email, it's yes.
Yeah. Also, this isn't an official document, so don't worry about the names or having to change them.
Is there any more questions, comments, concerns before we do an unofficial vote? Seeing none, all those who approve unofficially? All who disapprove? I forgot my script. All abstaining. All right, that unofficially passed. We'll now be moving on to special board of announcements for any member of UMSG may address the GSS for no more than 5 minutes. We have any speakers, people.
I'm gonna addendum to my report. I have a meeting with James Salinas this week, to talk about campus groups and the contract, what we've seen that, those who don't know, UMSG runs in partnership with the CSI, the like subscription to the campus group software. So I'm just gonna be talking about what changes need to be made in the future. and make use of it to figure out where the club's meet. Thank you. Also, if you're interested in my position, you can't book a time with me this week. If you want to, you can just walk into the office and shadow me. I'll do my best to explain what I'm doing.
Better smart. In a lot of people's reports, a lot of people are talking about bylaws. If you need help in writing bylaws, it's a bit of a passion project of mine at this point in time, and I would love to help.
Any more special orders and announcements? President Trip.
Happen tomorrow, 8 AM on Google Meet.
Any more?
Yamas. Yamas, well, the wells. Yeah, Thunder Brewing. Ooh. Wells. Raise your hand if you would go to West.
Say something about Blackbird Brewing, is that they have happy hour that starts at 9 p.m. Tuesday nights. And there's like a buy one, get one pizza deal. You have to order off the right pizza menu. It's not all pizza, it's like a one topping. But it's, the kitchen's closes like right before the happy hour starts. Regardless, that's the place to go on Tuesday night.
Any more special orders and announcements? President Trip.
Raise your hand for Black Bear Brewing. Raise your hand for Wells. There were only 3 people, so I don't know if they were couple. Yeah.
Any more special orders and announcements? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
President Trent.
Here.
Didi Shelmerdine.
Here.
Didi Bone.
Here.
Didi Lehman. Didi Thompson.
Here.
Director Arafat. Here. Commissioner Stankiewicz. Representative Britton.
Here.
Senator Vanderwood. Here. Senator DeLorme. Here. Senator Cowan. Senator Chapin. Here. Senator Centinela. Here. Senator Dana.
Here.
Senator Goodspeed. Here. Senator Zurab. Here. Senator Vlad.
Here.
Senator LaMadrid. Here. Senator Oldfield.
Here.
Senator Rivera.
Here.
Senator Weber. Here. Senator Seward.
Here.
Senator Rideout.
Here.
Senator Sofer.
Here.
Senator Zima.
And you went here.
Senator Collmore.
Here.
Senator Sparks.
Yeah.
Senator Crowdy.
Here.
Senator Whitehead.
Here.
Senator Levesque.
Here.
Senator Donovan.
Here.
Representative Brunner.
Here.
Representative Knapp.
Here.
Representative Karpinski.
Here.
Representative Hancock.
Here.
Representative Emery. Representative Gamble.
Here.
Representative Ahmed. Here. Representative Tremblay. Here.
Please be quiet when we move along, so he doesn't have to shout. All right, I'm now looking for a motion to adjourn. Senator DeLorme.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, and Senate, and that is done.
Also.